What if the most dangerous weapon in the world isn't flying through the sky, but crawling silently beneath the sea? What if the future of global deterrence no longer belongs to missiles on launch pads, but to shadows beneath the ocean floor? In the bitter cold of the Arctic Circle, where icebergs drift and sonar echoes vanish into blackness, a submarine the size of a battleship is drifting through the dark. Its name is Belgorod, and it's unlike anything the world has ever seen. At over 180 meters long, this nuclear-powered colossus is the largest operational submarine on Earth, designed not just for war, but for psychological warfare, surveillance, sabotage, and strategic shock. The West calls it the Doomsday Submarine. The Kremlin calls it a special-purpose vessel. But make no mistake, its very existence is reshaping how the world thinks about underwater conflict. And now, in 2025, as tension builds between NATO and Russia, and military exercises intensify across the Arctic, analysts are asking one terrifying question: is Belgorod preparing for something bigger? This is the untold story of a machine built to hide, to survive, and if needed, to strike from the deep. The story of Belgorod begins not in 2025, but decades earlier, during the final years of the Soviet Union. Originally laid down in 1992 as part of the Oscar II class of cruise missile submarines, the same class as the ill-fated Kursk, the vessel was left incomplete as Russia plunged into political and economic chaos. For years, the half-built skeleton of Belgorod sat rusting in dry dock, forgotten by history. But then, something changed. In the early 2010s, amid rising tensions with the West and renewed Arctic ambitions, the Russian Navy resurrected the project. This time, not as a missile platform, but as a highly classified special operations submarine under the Main Directorate of Deep Sea Research, or GUGI. It would become the first of its kind, a dual-purpose undersea mothership designed to deploy mini-submarines, lay surveillance equipment, and perhaps, most chillingly, launch autonomous underwater nuclear drones. Belgorod is a hybrid, part attack submarine, part intelligence hub, and part science fiction nightmare. Measuring over 600 feet in length, its massive hull houses not just nuclear reactors and torpedoes, but docking bays for smaller submersibles like the Locharik, a titanium-hulled deep-diving sub used for classified operations at the ocean floor. It's also believed to carry unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs, and advanced sonar mapping systems that allow it to silently tap undersea internet cables, survey NATO communication lines, and plant sensors in strategic waters. But the most controversial feature lies deep in its stern. 6 launch tubes designed to carry the Poseidon, a nuclear-powered, nuclear-armed torpedo that can travel thousands of kilometers underwater autonomously. Military theorists call Poseidon a second strike weapon, a retaliatory system meant to survive any first strike and deliver devastation from the sea. With a speed of over 100 knots and an unlimited range, Poseidon could, in theory, bypass all missile defense systems and detonate near coastal cities, unleashing tsunamis contaminated with radiation. Russia says it's a deterrent. Critics call it a destabilizing threat. Most submarines avoid the Arctic. Belgorod was built for it. With reinforced hulls and advanced navigation systems, it can glide silently beneath polar ice sheets, where radar and satellites cannot reach. Experts believe it can stay submerged for months at a time, completely invisible. The Arctic, once dismissed as a frozen wasteland, is now a strategic frontier. Melting ice has opened new sea routes, untapped energy reserves lie beneath the seabed, and NATO's presence in Norway, Greenland, and Alaska is growing. In response, Belgorod's missions likely include monitoring undersea NATO movements, installing undersea sonar arrays, shadowing U.S. ballistic missile submarines, and, if ordered, cutting critical underwater infrastructure like the very cables that carry the world's internet traffic. In July 2022, Belgorod officially joined the Russian Northern Fleet. Since then, it has vanished and reappeared on satellite tracking only a handful of times, its movements closely guarded. Recent NATO naval exercises in the North Atlantic and Arctic Circle have coincided with mysterious underwater disruptions. While no official connection has been made, speculation grows. And now, with tensions between Russia and Western allies at their highest since the Cold War, the presence of Belgorod is no longer just military posturing. It's a signal. Some analysts warn, if a conflict were to break out involving NATO and Russia, Belgorod could be deployed not just as a warfighting platform, but as a strategic wildcard. Its very existence forces adversaries to ask, where is it? What is it carrying? And what happens if we push too far? In the end, Belgorod may never fire a shot. It may never launch a Poseidon. It may never surface again in public view, but that's exactly the point. The power of Belgorod lies not in destruction, but in uncertainty. It is the ultimate ghost, silent, massive, and unseen. A weapon of mystery designed to haunt the calculations of any potential adversary. As the world drifts into a new era of tension and the rules of war evolve beneath the waves, one truth remains. Sometimes the most terrifying weapons are the ones we never hear coming.